Hi, this is 100 in 100, where we review 100 VR games in 100 days. Today we're looking at Archery, made by the same unicorn VR group that made Selfie Tennis. This is a good one. Let's jump right in. Archery is all about shooting objects that are moving toward you, or shooting objects that you're moving away from, like a newspaper at a house. The name of the game is Shooting and Accuracy, and this game really delivers with a whole series of mini games that are really quite fun to play. Archery has 10 different mini games with some bonus levels inside of some of these games that are actually really fun to play. For $10, you can get this title from the Steam store, or if you have a Viveport Infinity subscription, you can download it for free and play it right away from that store. The download doesn't take more than a few minutes to complete. Once it's downloaded, you're able to install and launch the game from inside of Steam or Viveport, and you're up and running. Getting into the game, you will start in the loft of a downtown home that is yours, and from there you can pick which mini game you're going to jump into to start playing. This game is categorized as a sports game, but it's really a point and shoot game that really helps you focus on your target practice and hitting objects that are either small, far away, or moving. Throughout the game, there's a lot of different ways for you to shoot your bow and arrow. In fact, you're not only shooting arrows, but you're shooting pepperonis or tomatoes or ice cream cones or newspapers. The goal is to shoot whatever object you have on your bow and hit the target, whether it's still or moving. For theme and story, this game doesn't really have one continuous storyline, but a whole bunch of individual themes and mini stories around what you're doing in each one of those mini games. It's very clear what you're supposed to do in those mini games, and the theme is also very clear. In one of the game modes, you're shooting ice cream cones at kids that are running by, and they're happy to be hit by the ice cream. They wipe their faces and smile, and they're probably eating the ice cream as well. It was clear that your job with your bow was to shoot ice cream at kids. However, there's no overarching theme other than shoot your bow and arrow. Whatever object's in the bow, shoot that thing at the target. The controls for this game are very simple, and there's not a lot of options when it comes to how you interact with the world. For example, you can pull the trigger to pull your bow back, and you can push another top button to switch your dominant hand so that you're either pulling with your right or your left arm. But other than that, there aren't any other controls that you can use during gameplay. For music and sound, this game had a lot of work to do because of all of the different mini games and all of the individual themes that showed up in these mini games. With all the different sound effects that they needed to think of, the developers did a really good job of making sure that they captured the sound of ice cream hitting kids, or newspapers hitting mailboxes, or pizza topping hitting pizza. We were really impressed with that. The music that you would hear in the game that you would mostly notice would be in the menu, which sounded a lot like elevator music, which didn't matter so much because you quickly jump back into other mini games. This game is labeled as a standing or room scale game. However, the game is a standing game for all intents. The movement that you do is leaning or turning, but moving about with your feet doesn't make very much sense in the game, and you won't really need to do it. One of the issues that we had was that we were surprised that we were so bad at shooting the bow and arrow in this game, when in reality we've shot a lot of bow and arrow throughout our lives, and we're a lot better in real life than we are in VR. The game is not very forgiving, and the learning curve is pretty steep to get really good at this game. However, we are interested in getting better. We might come back to this title and really polish our arrow shooting skills in Archery. As far as motion sickness goes, this game really did a good job of paying attention to what a user would be feeling as they move through the game. There is teleporting, which can be jarring to people that are new to VR, but for the most part, you're standing stationary and you are shooting targets that are around you as you rotate. The world responds to you perfectly fine as you rotate, and there aren't any weird jarring effects that would make you feel nauseated or motion sick. For the environment and immersion, this game was really fantastic, and you can tell the developers put a lot of time into adding a lot of different content into each one of these mini games. You see landscapes, you see people, you see animals, buildings, trees, plants, all sorts of things in this world. And even though it is kind of a silly type of animation, you're fully there, and you can tell that there was enough elements added to make it really an immersive and enjoyable experience. So this game was really fun to be inside of, and we think we'll be coming back to it. All right, so let's do the scorecard for #Archery. For the theme and story, because there wasn't one continuous theme or one continuous story, and it was a little unclear what exactly the story would be in each game mode, although they were fun, we're giving it a 4 out of 10 for theme and story. For controls, we're giving this game a 4 out of 10, and this is because there weren't a lot of ways to interact. The controllers have so many buttons and so many options for input, and this game was only willing to accept 2. We really wish there would be a lot more. The game has a lot of potential, and we hope that that potential can be met, but a 4 out of 10 for controls for #Archery. For music and sound, we are giving #Archery a 7 out of 10. We really thought the sound effects were done well. The environmental sounds, spatial audio, as well as the sound effects when you are hitting an object were really great. We don't know if they're perfectly accurate, but they were perfectly fun, and they were consistent, and they were fulfilling. So a 7 out of 10 for music and sound. For motion sickness, this game is getting a high score of 8 out of 10. That is because it honors a lot of the principles that are important to avoid motion sickness when you're using VR. When you are in the game, the world is stationary when you're stationary. And moving around, although it can be jarring for new people in VR, using a teleportation mechanism when done right isn't terribly jarring, and that's how this game uses locomotion. So motion sickness, this game gets an 8 out of 10. For environment and immersion, this game is getting a high score of 8 out of 10. Yes, there's animated things that are not believable as real, but you are in the game and you feel a part of the world. Each mini game pulls you in, and we are very impressed at all of the detail that went into each one of these mini games to make them believable and enjoyable. So #Archery was a really fun title to play. We might keep this one on our machine and play it again later. We're giving #Archery a 6 out of 10 for their overall score, and we really thought it was a fun game to play. The mini games, that was a great idea, and the way that you move around the world and the elements that are in the world that you get to interact with or shoot things at, it was a lot of fun, and we think we'll be coming back to this one. Thanks for watching. This has been 100 in 100, where we are reviewing 100 VR games in 100 days. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so that you can receive a notification when we release another VR game review tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.